What's up, ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? It's Dan here from Cryonoir, and welcome to my game making journey part 28, a side quest in Xamarin. So there's a lot to get through in this one, and it's kind of a little bit of a skew off from game making, but it was a thing that I've been doing and why I've not been game making, so I just thought I would do this as part of the series just to show you where we are and where we are going, I guess. So without further ado, let's crack on. In my last game making journey, I had just finished doing the third part of Game Dev TV's Udemy course called Complete C# Unity Developer in 3D. The first part was a terminal hacking game to get the foundations in C#. Then came a game called Rocket Boost, which was more of a 2.5D game, now adding in some basics of Unity. Thirdly, we had made a kind of Star Fox inspired game to add enemy pathing, particles, timeline features, and a bit more of the terrain editor. And then the next game was to make a tower defense game, and I'd started diligently working my way through it. Then opportunity came knocking. This was all about a year and a half ago, and due to the nature of projects, I couldn't really talk about it at the time, other than to tell my subs I was going on a hiatus. I am, however, now in a position to do so. A friend of my wife had found out that I dabbled in programming and had an idea for an app he thought might prove quite lucrative. He's a web developer by trade and is currently maintaining the database of a website for a local online retailer. Whilst building an app would not be beyond his capability, it was not part of his current skill set. He approached me with the idea that I would build the app and he would build the back end. When he first ran the project by me and asked if I could build an app, my first thing that crossed my mind was, shit, this could actually make quite a bit of money. Just say yes and figure it out afterwards. So that's what I did. Sure, I could build an app. It's not really my thing, but for 40%, I could be a hero for 3 days.
But for $1.6 million, we could become heroes for 3 days.
I made it clear that I would build the app and get it all working, but the moment we could afford an actual app developer to come in and replace me, that would be a priority hire so that I could then walk away, take my ongoing cut of the profit and get back to game development. So what was this grand idea, I hear you ask? Well, here in the UK, if a train is more than 30 minutes late, you can claim 50% of the price of your ticket back as a refund. Now, if any of you have actually travelled by train in the UK, you'll know that the trains here run about as punctually as a teenager after curfew. You'll also know that the train companies are none too cooperative when paying out these refunds. It's not that it's a nightmare, but you've got to provide all the details, check that the train was late, provide a copy of your ticket. It's just a bit of a hassle. The idea for the app was to remove a lot of that hassle. You'd create an account with us once, then each time your train was late, you'd bring up the app, put in the details of your train, we'd then check if the trip qualified for a refund, confirm it to the user, and then they would take a photograph of the ticket using their phone, all within the app, and then we'd parcel the whole lot up in one go and then process the refund claim. The idea was that the whole process would take the end user under a minute and a half, and we'd take a 10% cut for the recovered sum. Plus, it was kind of a benefit for the train companies, because we'd be checking with a travel API to confirm that the train was in fact late before passing on a claim. We'd effectively be doing their first round checks for them. Now, the market for claimed and unclaimed refunds for late train tickets in the UK is worth hundreds of millions each year. And that goes to show just how bad the trains are in the UK. I checked if there were any other apps on the market that filled this niche, and there were quite a few. All of them were one-star apps. The biggest complaint with all of these apps was that the GPS that was built in was rubbish. Well, we weren't going to be using GPS. We would just query the train tracking API directly. If the train was late, you could claim. So with that, I got to building. I've never built a mobile app before and I didn't really know where to start, so I just did what I always do when I need to learn something. Hit YouTube and start asking questions. My first query was something like, how to build mobile app C# Visual Studios. And what do you know? It turns out one of the best ways to build a mobile app is by using Xamarin Forms, which uses XAML for the front-end GUI and C# for all of the heavy lifting. Not only was this a very common way of doing things, but once you'd built the app once, Visual Studios could nativize it in both Android and iOS from one solution.
Outstanding! ending.
I created a rough plan in GIMP, which surprisingly turned out very accurate to how the app would eventually work. I then bought a couple of cheap courses in Udemy, as always, in app development, and basically built it as I went. The courses would show me how to create a page with a button, so I would set up a main menu page with all the buttons I needed. Then they showed me how to write to and pull data down from a database, so then I set up a user profile database. They showed me how to set up a selectable list, so I set up all of the towns, the counties and the stations. All in all, it went pretty smoothly. That's not to say that there weren't problems. It took me a really long time to sort out how to update the database from multiple pages, and I had to call my business partner in for some help to sort that little headache out, but all in all, progress was steady. I didn't do much filming as I went building the app, so these are just little snippets that I have throughout the process, but I did however make a video that was going to be showing how to test an app on a live device and me testing it for the very first time. I didn't upload it for whatever reason, but I guess I might as well just chop it in here, so here we go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Stan here from Cryonoir. It's going to be a super short video today. We're at the point now where we need to test the app on an actual device, on a thing, rather than just doing it in emulators. So I'm just going to have a quick bash at trying to get it onto an actual device. It might work, it might not work. So this might be a super quick video, or it might be really long with lots of swearing. So let's give it a bash. What we're using is a Huawei pad thing, which came free with our phone contract. Now it's I don't even know how it works. There we go. So we have this going now. Like I say, it came free, and I think it costs a grand spanking total of about 40 quid if you want to buy it. So my kind of my sort of logic is if it works on this, then it'll work on anything. Certainly any phones. So what we have to do to get this going, I have my handy dandy notes, which are very well written, which I've learned. So apparently what we need to do to get this up and running so it'll run on the hardware is we need to connect it via USB. So we go settings, and we need to go to about, I'm guessing, according to this. Ooh, crikey. Permissions, advanced settings, or yeah, we'll go advanced settings and have a look in here. We're looking for software info. Is it in permissions maybe? About tablet, there we go. So you have to go to the about tablet, and then you have to go to the build number, and you have to click this 7 times. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bing, and you are now in developer mode. So that means you now have full access to the device and you can do other crazy stuff. So we can now have, you can see developer options there on the system. So if we click developer options, we should have all of these kind of stuff, which means we're allowed to get into the guts of the thing. So let's have a look. What do we need? We need to turn USB debugging on. So stay away. Which is debugging, USB debugging. So we need to turn that on and allow the USB debugging. So now we need to hook this up. Very close to Sonic. We need to hook this bad boy up. Go away, okay. So now we need to hook this bad boy up. We should get lots of, and yes, we're going to allow access. Yeah, okay, and theoretically, if you just have a look on the screen here, when I click down on there, we should have a Huawei thing. We don't. This is where I fall apart. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, okay, so I worked out what, it looks as though I turned developer mode off. I turned it on and then somehow turned it off at the same time. So it hadn't taken, but now if you look at the screen, we now have Huawei just on that drop down box there. So you can see that's the emulator I was normally using, and that's the Huawei. It seems to be working. So theoretically, if I press play now, this should compile there and then fire it to this, and then all being well, this should then run on here. Runtime installing platform framework. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. We have a beep. It did a beep. I should really have tested this beforehand, but I actually wanted kind of a doing it for the first time thing. So, that's doing something. Here we go. We have a white screen. So, and that right there is the app.
Oh my God.
So if we go new user, so we need to type in an email address. This isn't calibrated yet, so it'll just accept anything. And then if we go password, this needs to be the same. So we'll just go anything. We'll go lop. And then confirm password. It needs to make sure that these are the same, which it is. So then if I click, so I click OK, and then go next, that should just run. Right, this should launch. Yes, there we go. So I'm a doctor for now, and my first name is Fap, and my surname. Okay, that's not totally intuitive. All right, Fappington. My name is Fappington.
That's really the name you want to go with, is it?
Yeah, just for this test. Right, so this is the part that I really was concerned. That actually looks okay. Oh, no, it doesn't. You can see that those lines... Right, so I don't know how well this is going to actually pick up on the screen.
Not lined up very well.
Those lines don't line up. That was something I was very concerned with. It does on the emulator. It does really well on there.
Oh, I don't know. I think it might be an optical illusion. The bottom of the boxes.
No, they line up, but if you look at the line that runs underneath oh, shit. Yeah, you can see how these light up and it goes right to the end.
Yeah.
If you look at these, they're shorter.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. I was going to say, they're on the same level.
They are, they're lined up okay. But that was just the way that I formatted it. It looks fine on the emulator, but I was concerned it wouldn't look okay on here. So I'll need to reformat that. But this was the thing that I was really concerned with. See, when I click search on town and city, it's going to load up a little over 2,500 entries, so it's just a case of how well this runs.
Woo!
And that runs perfectly fine. I mean, it's a little, and we've got a search function at the top, so if we type in Scarborough, which is where we are, there we go, we get Scarborough.
Yay!
Real-time searching works fine. So we go London. Here we go, all the different versions of London, Longdon, Longbury, and I even put in there Megaton as well from Fallout. So that's a little Easter egg, so if anyone finds that at some point, I'll put Megaton in there as well. So, let's just pick Aberflynley. We need a first line, which is and then we need a county, which will be, we won't do that. We'll search the county list. While we're in Berkshire, search the county list. So we've got all the counties.
Will it accept it if it's not in the right county?
No, it doesn't care. It's not that smart. Postcode it doesn't care about either. That's fine. So that's working. Bank account number is 6. Sort code is also 6. And the account name is blah, 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 blah. Okay, and next, and boom. And this is all working perfectly fine. So new claim, boom, there we go, we've got the varying different things, so that should launch, yes. So we can change, that's actually really cool, that works really well. I don't know how well this is picking it up. Just try and tilt it, but so you scroll through there and you got the months and then you got the years. So that works perfectly fine. And then when we do the train stations, boom, that should list, that's got all 1,500 train stations in the UK, or however many it was, or just Dent. We went to Dent, and then we got the time, and the time thing works okay as well. Is that in 24? Yeah, and that's in 24-hour clock as well, as it should be. So at 4 minutes past 9, we left Dent, and then we went. So that's all working.
Cool.
So I don't really know what to do now. That was literally it. I just wanted to show you if you want to test something.
Yay.
If you build an app and you need to test using Visual Studios and Android, you need a cable to connect the two up to it. You go into the settings, you hit developer mode 7 times. You hit the build number 7 times, and that puts it in developer mode. Turn USB interface on, and then when you come into Visual Studios, you'll have an option where you have your normal, which is up here. Well, hang on, I'll have to... Oh, I don't actually know how to cancel out of this now. Here at the top, where you would have your normal emulator there on this little drop-down box, you then turn that from... I was using the Pixel Oreo because that was the one that worked the best. You then change that to your other one, your Huawei thing, or whatever device you're using. And then there you go. Mine didn't work first time, but just play around with it, turn it off and on again a few times and set it going. And it seems to work perfectly fine. And then there you go. You can test it in your...
Robert, your father's brother.
Robert's your father's brother.
Hey.
So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope that was educational and entertaining. And yeah, thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye. So all in all, things were going pretty swimmingly. I've almost built the app in its entirety, right down to some groovy little animations when it loads up. So I guess all that's left to do now is just to show you the end result. Okay, so when the app loads up, first you get a groovy little animation of some train tracks, and then whilst that's running, it's checking in the background whether or not there's a locally stored database or whether there isn't. If there is no locally stored database, which there is here, so that means it's a completely new user, it then throws us onto the creating a new account page. There were some extra little pages that need throwing in here, like, you know, welcome pages and, you know, it's time to set up an account and all that kind of stuff. They were all really super quick to set up, so I hadn't got around to them. I'd mostly just got the main functionality going. So once that's done, it then puts you to this first page, which is just a kind of we need your email and password page. So you just sort of set this will all work. I'm using the mouse here initially, but this all does work using the thumb keypad as well. This little section even checks to make sure that this is sort of a valid email type of format. It doesn't check whether it's a valid email or not, but it does check whether or not it's a valid format. So, you know, you've got words, then at, and then something dot something. The password has like a length checker in it as well, to make sure that you're putting the right length of data in, and also it shows that these two versions match. If they don't match, it says password and isn't correct, it throws up a little error signal, so you make sure you put them in correctly, and then that should all being well. As you can see, yeah, so if I just get rid of that, so I've made sure the passwords match, but it's not a valid email format, so so you can get out of that. And then as long as you just go sort of .com or .co.uk or .net, I think it had a massive long list. So now we've got like a drop down for all the different sort of prefixes. We won't get into the Z's and the Zows and the Zers and all that kind of stuff. So we just had Dr, Mr, Mrs and Miss. And then, you know, you can put your name in here. So I think I'll be Dr. Drake Ramore. Why not? I'm assuming it's spelled like that, Ramore, I don't know, Dr. Drake Ramore. We didn't have hyphens. And each time you're doing this, it's actually pulling this down and storing this in the there we go, Ramore. That's probably Drake Ramore. So it's now storing that. So here, obviously, we want the user's address as well. So we'll just go with something like the street or something, the close, I think I went with. And let's have a look. Obviously you cannot hear me typing, so I'm just watching back the video here. So this is the closest street, and then when you hit this search button, this is a list of every single postal town in the entirety of the UK. So Leeds is just around the corner from us, and you've got real-time search thing, so you know, Rochdale, Rochester, anything like that, Winchester, it's got all of them in, every single one, and I had to do that manually. It's also got Megaton as well, which is from Fallout 3, I just thought I would add that. And that will scroll, you can just scroll through that list, but obviously there's several thousand towns. I think it was 2,500 towns or something, and there's about 100 and something different counties, so you know, Megaton and County Armagh in, but we don't deliver to the capital wasteland, so if anyone did put in Megaton, we would throw up a little exception there. So then and there we go, you can put in the address and the town and everything, make sure you get all that completed. And next we needed the user's bank details, so this will check to make sure that the bank account number is an 8-digit account number and that the sort code is a 6-digit sort code. Anything over than that, we didn't check if there was anything else. It needs to be 8 digits, you see, so you got to make sure it's 8 digits long. So yeah, I think if I put a 4 there, and again the sort code, it'll make sure that that's a 6-digit number, as you can see if we remove that, because it needs to be a 6-digit sort code. So, but I mean, these are all little things you have to do. There's no point people getting there. If they put incorrect details in or whatever, you know, we would get down to yeah, if you went too long, it wouldn't. It would still do it. Why am I still playing around with that now? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and here we are. And this is the main menu. We've got a nice little company logo. We've got you can make a claim, check if you've got pending claim, look at your claim history, and then your account. So this is, there you go. It brings all the information up that you've already put in. So we can change this. So we can go Miss Drake Ramore, and now if we check back, it's updated that. And we can change the address as well. So it's pulled all the address details in. We can, yeah, and okay, so you can change. You need to put in your old password, new password, and confirm that. Obviously, there's an exception there, so you can cancel out that. Same with the email address. All of the kind of authentication for that will be done at the back end. I just needed to get it all in and set up. And then I'll just talk you through making a claim. So if you go to make a claim, you've got the date that you travelled. If you select that, you get a nice little groovy calendar that comes up, and you can select whatever date it was. So Tuesday, April the 6th. Train station here, yeah, this was several thousand train stations all manually put in. I put in all these thousands and thousands of train stations. So and again, these got a real-time search function at the top as well. So we can just type in, I don't know, where are we going to type in? Bat and ball. So we travelled. That is a legitimate train station. I did go through and check all of or a lot of them anyway, the weirder ones, and they are all real. So we travelled at 2:15. Yeah, so there you go. You've got a nice little clock for that. And again, it had all the exceptions in there so that if you didn't put the details in, it wouldn't let you. Now, this was all a little jank to begin with. The very first time you tried to access the camera, it sort of asked you all of this lot, and I needed to work out a way to kind of improve this. I mean, it did work, but you'd take a picture and then it would just take it, and then that was that. And it didn't really work as effectively as I would like. And I'll show you what should happen in a second, because once you do it the second time, it works perfectly. But for some reason, the first time, it was always just a little bit jank. It just wasn't good. And we'll show you this in 2 seconds. Like I say, what you have to do, you have to kind of back out of it and use the back button. So I don't know how to fix this. This was still one thing I needed to fix. You see I've got a pretend ticket there. But this time you notice I go, right, okay, so there's a photo, and then you can go, yes, there's a picture of the ticket. You select OK. And then there we go, and then it's then added that picture to there, so then you will be able to have a picture of your ticket, and then you can make a claim. It's got the address within your phone there, and then it says, yep, check in. So that would be the point at which it would then fire everything off to the back end to make sure that all worked. So yeah, all in all, we got an awful lot of stuff, and if you log out now, we can then log back in as the same user. If you put the wrong details in, it won't let you for obvious reasons. And again, so that's checking the locally stored database. This is me just trying to remember what password I put, what details are they in. I did when I was doing this, I got very good at just creating passwords that were QWERTY, because I know that was going to be the right length and all that kind of stuff. So then there we go, and then we're back into the app, and that's everything working. And here we go. You can make a new claim. You can't make a claim until you put all the details in. As you can see now, the photo is working perfectly. So it would have been a bit of a jank setup for new users for the first time, but and you can see already we've got Miss Drake Ramore and everything. It's all there. So as you can see, it's all fully working. It's all fully functioning, and everything's sort of there. It was just we were getting to the stage where it needed to sort of communicate with the back end. It was it was all. I think it was looking pretty good. Oh, and if you put new user details in, obviously you can fill that in, and that will actually delete. As part of that, it drops all of the local database and then creates a completely new user account. And so that way, if we also had it wasn't fully set up. We had it so that if there was nothing in there, you could still then make request or your details. So if you tried to log in with details that we held on the server at sort of the back end, it would then fire those details. It would go, is there a local database that matches to? Yes or no. If it would then also fire that back to the server at our end, and then if it goes, oh yeah, well they match all up with these, so it would then drop all the locally stored database stuff and then would upload it all to the phone. So then it would then be a new person's account. And you can see that is how this is just it sort of overriding all of the locally stored database stuff. So you could then have sort of create new accounts and stuff like that if for whatever reason. Okay, So yeah, it was all working pretty good. And that was that. All the core functionality was built. All that was left was to get it so that it would then bounce information back to his back-end database and would trade information back and forth there. And then, he'd already built most of the database at the back already, so that was pretty much done. Then we just need to get it querying the API to confirm whether or not a train was late or not. And then we were pretty much ready for beta testing, so everything seemed to be looking rosy. That was up until a couple of weeks ago, when my business partner sent me through a photograph and a one-word text message. Please note, we can no longer accept claims submitted from unregistered users. Don't worry though, registering is a simple process and you'll get some additional benefits. Already registered? Please log in. And what does all that mean, you might very well be asking? Previously, refund applications could be made by filling in an online form with the trip details and attaching your evidence, i.e. the photo of your ticket. Our plan was that my partner was automate completing these forms using the data that we already had from the app. However, now, to claim a refund, people had to set up an account with the only train company that operates in our backwater town. We bandied round ways that we could spoof their system, so that we could create an account in one of our users' accounts name and add a new email address that we had access to, which we could then authenticate and then set up an account. But the more workarounds we came up with, the more problems that arose. New account email authentication, breaches to their T's and C's, changes to their login protocol, you name it. It's kind of genius really on the train company's part. If you only wanted a small refund, you probably won't go through all of the extra hassle to create an account just to make a claim. And if your refund is large enough to make it worth your time, the train companies now get to recoup their losses by either selling all your data on or by using your email address to market to you. We were aware that the train companies would eventually cotton on to our service, but we always had the defence that what we were doing was effectively their first round checks for them, and we wouldn't be passing on a claim until we had done that, effectively reducing their workload. However now, although that was still the case, what we were actually doing was doing them out of their users' data that they were going to use to offset their losses. We've checked with several other train companies and they were all the same. It would appear that they'd decided to use the national lockdown and huge reduction in travel to roll out some new terms of service while no one was looking. So that's pretty much it. In a nutshell, the app is effectively dead. It's a moo point, as it were. So yeah, so all app development has ceased. We're no longer pursuing that project. It is all dead. It is a dead parrot. And so the jokes go on. I mean, it was only a year and a half I spent working on that, so it's not like it's the end of the world, but it's certainly a sunken ship, let's put it that way. So yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching, I guess. Yeah, not really much else to say. Although I suppose you might very well be wondering what I'm doing. In case you haven't noticed by the backdrop, I am back into game development again, which was always my main thing. This was only ever a side project, hence my game making journey and all that kind of stuff. So I'm back in and I'm in a new engine. I'm just trying to find it. And I've been busying away, let's put it that way. So hang around on the channel, I guess, and keep your eye out because there's going to be some more content coming up, all to do with this little puppy right here. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Take it easy. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to peruse my Teespring store. There is a link below. There are some interesting t-shirts there for game collectors and the such. All will be improving over the many months to come. Big plans now that I have been released from my obligations. So thank you very much again. Take it easy and I'll see you again back with the double salute.